Welcome everybody to this next webinar in our series. This one is around getting data done in healthcare. My name is Chris, and I have with me our head of Germany, Thomas. Thomas, can you maybe, before we start going into the talk, quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Thomas. I'm representative for Dataminded Germany as country manager since June this year, hoping to expand the activities of Dataminded from Belgium here on the German market, growing a team of engineers, making new clients happy in their daily life, and looking forward to provide content for you in the future, like this webinar, also some other different kind of materials as meetups. Yeah, I'm really I'm delighted to speak to you, and I wish everyone a wonderful afternoon. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. And so for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Chris. I'm the founder and CEO of Dataminded. We have a few slides prepared actually to talk a bit, about ourselves, but also about healthcare. So the topic of today is getting data done in healthcare, lessons learned from the front line. The reason why we're organizing this webinar is because we did an event in Berlin a couple of weeks ago where we invited some people in the healthcare space to share their challenges and ideas and inspiration. And basically today we want to give you our lessons learned from that day. But so yeah, welcome again. I'm Chris. I have Thomas with me. As we said, we're first going to talk a bit about who we are, Dataminded, who is Dataminded Germany, the key findings that we get from the industry, the recap of our event, which we call the Doctor's Data Night. How do we see ourselves tackling those challenges? Then we bring you a case study, and then it's also your turn. We're going to leave some time for Q&A. We hope we're not going to talk for a full hour. We leave some room for interaction if possible. Quickly, a few words about Dataminded. We are an organization where we like to transform highly ambitious organizations into modern data-centric organizations. What do I mean with modern data-centric organizations? Is those are organizations that build data products that yield business value, the organizations that have a data platform that accelerates and enables the rest of the organization. And there's also organizations where we have an operating model in place to tie in people and processes to all the technology goodness that we bring, right? On a very high level overview, this is we've been around for 10 years. We served more than 50 clients. We've done more than 200 use cases. We've done a lot of teaching. We have a Dataminded Academy where we teach our clients, engineers and scientists to be better at their day-to-day activities. We're now slightly bigger than 50 people. We built quite a few data platforms by now. We're active in all three major clouds. We love cloud activity, cloud computing. Yeah, we trained quite a lot of people. On the right, you see some of our clients that we served in the past, some of them in healthcare. But maybe let's switch to Thomas to talk a bit about Dataminded Germany. Thomas, what's up with that?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, as you already know, for those who came later into this webinar, this year we decided to extend our activity of the German market with our new headquarter in Berlin, in the capital of Germany. First, renting a small desk with potential to grow for a team. Now we are a team of 4 guys. 1 expert engineer, 2 senior data engineers, and including me. So you can call us right now a quartet. Yeah, and but we are also looking for new engineers for the future to start new projects. And yeah, maybe the one or the other engineer here on the left, maybe on the upper left, the Oliver, you already know. And Thorsten joined us in October. He's living in Düsseldorf. And next week we have a newcomer with Emil as senior data engineer. So the team is steadily growing. We have a lot of us in front, a lot to do. And I'm really happy to have a lot of smart guys around me who can do all the scientific work. Yeah.
Guys and girls, Thomas?
Guys and girls, guys and girls. So, yeah, but who are we looking for? So our team, for us, it is important facing the challenges in terms of technologies that we provide services in the highest quality. So first, we're looking for senior data engineers for our project staffs, but also depending on the demands of our project and our solutions, sometimes we need to hire also some more board skilled data scientist with also knowledge in the front end and some knowledge in the back end as data engineering. But most importantly, it is for us to have highly motivated engineers around us that really want to make a difference at Dataminded and for you. And what we all share is a passion about data and engineering. That is really our heart, that is our core for what we are really burning for. Yes. And it is always good to speak proficient English. To have some German knowledge is also an advantage for the German market. So we are growing within or from the biotech industry and cross industry sectors and supporting our solutions by developing and providing new content like this webinar or social media activities or even events in place or on-site events like our meetup last month and in 2 weeks later something more to that. And we are still looking for partnerships with introduced institutions, associations, in terms of platform engineering, advanced analytic, just to be more flexible on the needs of our solutions.
All right. Yeah, so our slogan is getting data done. We like to get things moving. But we also like to hear from you before we share what we've done and what we've learned. We like to share we like to be curious about your experiences. And for that, we switched to Mentimeter. For those of you who followed us for a while, you know what Mentimeter is by now. So I'm going to share my screen and pop up the Mentimeter thing. Thomas, can you confirm that you see my screen now?
Yes, I can confirm.
Awesome. Cool. So I hope everybody else can as well. So go to menti.com and fill in the code, or alternatively, just take out your cell phone and scan the QR code. I'll wait a few minutes or a few seconds so you can get this done. We're mostly curious about your experience in the healthcare industry, because we saw in the list of attendees that there were some really active in the healthcare, but also some other consultants. So I'm curious, are you doing consulting in the healthcare industry, or are you just curious about the healthcare industry? That's actually our first question. What are your experiences working with data in healthcare / biotech? None. So you're mainly here to learn, I guess, to pick up what is special about at least somebody. Somebody must have done something in healthcare or biotech. I'm mostly still curious. Okay. Thomas, we have a very fresh crowd here in front of us. We'll have to start from the scratch.
Yeah. Or maybe trying to figure out what you want to do in future and healthcare, or what you expect to be challenged with, maybe. Could be also helpful.
There will be some more questions coming, but first, also for the sake of time, I'm going to switch back to the presentation. Here we go. Stop my screen sharing. Thomas, this was an interesting quote from yours. Biotech is a sensitive industry. What do you mean?
Right, Chris. Biotech is indeed a sensitive industry, and sensitive is per se a definition that something is what you really have to be handled very careful, and it's also sensitive in terms of it's all about humans, and we want to have the best impact on the health of humans and on everything surrounding their daily life. So we must be very careful if we are developing new products, new solutions for human beings. But also from another perspective, it's the data itself, which is very and the data cosmos of the biotech industry, which is very sensitive. And I will I hope I can explain you why it is. Um, yeah, let's have a look. Let's
All
have a
right.
look. Yeah, but first, a short introduction and a short overview about the biotech industry. So it's a steadily growing market. Seeing some numbers of the last 8 years or last 10 years, going back to 2014, seeing that the number of companies have maybe almost doubled, but the number of employees have more than doubled right now in the industry. The turnover is like growing by 9 times, from 3 billion to over 25 billions. I think now it's around 27 or 28 billion euros. It's amazing. There's a huge potential. And also the research and development expenditures were growing steadily. So we see here a trend on a market where something really crazy is going on, and you can see it on the lines here, and the yellow line, the turnover. It's the same data from the table, but presented visually, and you can see the big jump in 2020, and it's due, we all know, to COVID-19. This was really, I would guess, like some kind of industry pusher, where really the awareness of drugs and wakings which have to produce really increased, and also for the future, the high potential. Yeah.
All right.
So when we are at Dataminded talking about biotech, we're talking about the healthcare sector. So there are main areas at biotech, and you see from the pie chart, more than 50% belong to healthcare, but there are also other like agro biotech or industry biotech or bioinformatics, and different smaller ones. But when we talk about it, we mean healthcare. So sometimes it's very confusing. Some companies talking about healthcare, some about biotech, then they are pharma. And in the end, maybe they are very interwoven and intersectional, that you never sometimes cannot separate them from each other. But in
Yeah.
this case, let's take it as healthcare when we talk about
Right.
biotech.
So let's get into the meat of it, right? So I think the audience has a better understanding now of what is the healthcare industry, what is the biotech industry, how big is it by now? So let's now switch to key findings and challenges. And before we go to the event, I think, Thomas, if I'm right, you already summarized your learnings of the biotech industry, right? So what have you found?
Yeah, we have some experience in the biotech industry the latest years, recent years, and so just summarizing maybe the most important key aspects for us. That is first the low use of cloud technologies. We all know cloud computing power in terms of providing the computational capabilities for ML and AI applications is a big need. Everyone knows that. And even so, in sensitive industries like this biotech, people are still cautious about using those technologies. And there are also data access hurdles. Data in biotech, we're talking about a lot of data, really big data, different kind of data, millions of different products and drugs, and with different attributes and receipts for the production, and they are stored separately in different silos and have not accessible by everyone. So this is also a big hurdle here to take. And even or especially because we are talking here about data of medicaments and drugs, and private data of patients, maybe there's a strict regulatory compliance, sorry, and that is really we have to care about at every company in the biotech industry. So if we want to go to any kind of like industry, we cannot make a vote around this topic. This is really crucial. as it is also for the data integration issues we have. We have a data infrastructure in the background. This is maybe historical grown for very traditional companies or very long on the market, but also maybe heading back to cloud services when you want to conduct or do like migration from on-prem server to any hyperscaler. That is also a big challenge and time and cost consuming. And the last point is about the technologies we want to use in the end, the AI and ML models, which are not all very good interpretable and explainable for everyone, just for the reason that not everybody is aware of, okay, what is happening inside the machine, inside the black box, how to evaluate results, how to make decision of them. And that is also what is pushing decision makers sometimes back to say, okay, let's keep it like this right now. It's working, and maybe give it some more time. But yeah, the trust is very crucial. Yeah.
And it's funny to see. We're now going to talk about the event we organized. A lot of these challenges came back. That's one of the things that the speakers mentioned as well, right? So they're struggling with the same things. So yeah, let's talk about the event a bit. So we organized the 10th of October. By now, it's a bit more than a month ago. We called it the Doctors Data Night. So it's the night that saves the doctors using data, right? That was a bit the idea. Unleashing AI and data innovation in healthcare. We had three amazing speakers: Dr. Alvar Molik, Pascal Brockmeyer, and Paul Helwig. They all work in the biotech industry. Maybe let's go over them one by one, Thomas, and then for each explain who this person is, what they do, what problem are they solving using data, and then share a bit of the few key takeaways. Right?
Happy to do that, Chris. We were very carefully in choosing our speakers for this event because it is first event, maybe one of the first also in Berlin about this very specific topic. And we want to address this topic for the crowd public because of the importance of that industry. So we're choosing really experts from this industry, like here Dr. Ava Molik, who by himself was a physicist, so a real doctor in life, and he realized during his work a lot of doctors were harvesting from burnouts of documentation problems. So a lot of additional work. And he was thinking about finding a solution, maybe using the new Gen AI or LLM technologies for the doctor-patient communications to make the life of a doctor easier. And to provide some advantages with that. And along that way, he also saw he's also a businessman, so he was looking at the numbers and said, "Whoa, there's a really market size of 17 billion for general and healthcare, and wow, okay, maybe I have a chance there to do something with my LLMs." And and he did. This company is not older than 1 year now, and he has already 2 customers and implemented a solution into hospitals in Germany. And found a way to make it happen, to just having the feeling or realizing, okay, my solution is working there. Maybe it's working somewhere else. But there's another challenge upon him, that this is still a huge mistrust, as we already said in some slides back, that a lot of doctors, because the first contact person or clients are doctors. Doctors with the use of these tools, and depending on their technical background and their age and their tradition and their skills and so on, they have access to technologies or not. Yeah, they are confident about using that or maybe a bit unsure. And this is really a big challenge he's facing in terms of mistrust.
But still cool that he was able to land at least two clients in healthcare, two hospitals. I know from experience it's not easy to work with hospitals.
Mm. This is awesome. This is awesome.
I mean, innovation is happening, is possible. Using LLMs, it's like happening today. It's not just buzzwords, and I like this talk a lot because he's doing it in practice, and he shared the struggles that he was having as well. So that was really good. All right.
That's great. That's great.
Let's go to the next speaker, which for people who know Dataminded a bit, they know probably Pascal as well. Pascal Brockmeyer used to be an engineer of Dataminded, but then he unfortunately decided to leave us, and he ended up with a company called Everycure now. So maybe Thomas, can you share a bit what they're doing at Everycure?
Yeah, Everycure is a very innovative US-based company, but they're also scattered with their engineers here in Europe, and I think Pascal is sitting in Amsterdam, and we were keen to have him in Berlin, just traveling to speak for us and sharing all his experience with the audience, and it was nice to see how the approach of the solution Everycure is having.
By the way,
Yeah.
a funny remark here in the description of Pascal. He says like he has a background at McKinsey, Quantum Black AI, but no mention of working at Dataminded. So maybe we should do our own marketing a bit better. It's just a funny anecdote that I
Yeah, we should do something about that.
What did they do at Everycure?
Maybe you should add a LinkedIn X Dataminded. I would suggest. Yeah, and there are many diseases in the world and many drugs to use to cure these diseases. But Everycure is focusing on really rare diseases and using latest technologies in AI and machine learning, especially here using knowledge graphs for reproposing specific drugs, for specific diseases. And it's not that easy because when we're talking about really big data and components of a single drug, there are many components of one small single drug which can be used for different diseases. And a doctor would like to know which drug can I take or offer my patients for specific disease, and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to throw it away. I want to use it, and this is also an ecological and very economical aspect here. That not only shopping this right. It's Chris.
Especially the part where they want to repurpose drugs. So that means instead of inventing a new drug and go through all the clinical trials, which takes years and which costs a lot of money, let's try to find using data if there is a likelihood that a certain drug would be able to cure another disease, and then you can shorten the time to market of because it's already on the market. Of course, it needs to be tested and validated for that new disease, but it really would accelerate a lot of the best example of that is Ozempic, of course, right? Ozempic was made for diabetes patients, to treating diabetes. And then also, like they discovered, like hey, it's also helping with fat loss, right? And now it's $1 billion industry. And of course, Everycure is a non-profit. It's pretty cool. But of course, there is an angle to it to like, hey, this is serious business, right?
Yeah. And I really like the naming. Everycure. I think this says a lot what they want to do. And our takeaways from his talk when sharing his experience, it's that data management especially is very crucial for the ingestion. Ingestion here is meant by the data ingestion, the part of getting data from the source and the databases or to the data processing system, and in terms of quality and security, which is needed, and they were also struggling with data which are originating from siloed databases, is maybe something what also Alva discovered, that are, or we also, when we're talking about data access, yeah, different sources of data for different use cases, data pipelines, data products, and make them available for the solutions you need. And another point is struggling and encoding continuous data. In the end, you have to bring very specific healthcare, biotech specific data in a form that it is readable for a machine, yeah, or for an algorithm, yeah. In that case, a machine learning algorithm or application must be able to read it or to use it or to work with it. Yeah, yeah. So it have to redefine, and it is a really crucial step in the data processing. Yeah, it's not only handling missing data and adding some new data and so on, but converting the data in a form that it is useful is one of the most important things here. And yeah, repeating myself again with the last point, verification of black boxes is hard. It's just hard. How do you know you do something in, and then the magic happens, and there's something wonderful coming out, and you don't know, okay, is that correct? Is that really? I mean, it's fast. This is good, maybe, but you know, don't know. We're talking about humans. We were talking about sensitive sensitive data and sensitive applications, and yeah, so it's still the same problem we face here. Yeah,
Exactly. It keeps on coming back.
it's coming back always. Yeah.
Yeah. The final speaker, what I liked about him before you introduce him, is this person has been active in the healthcare space for at least a decade, right? So he's seen many different companies. He's seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and I think that was also his talk, right? Like not just sharing the success stories, but also like the struggles that he had in the previous decades.
Yeah, Paul is it's a veteran on this field. Yeah, over 10 years as interim CTO, CDO, CO, CIO at different healthcare institutions, and he was working on implementing not only one or two solutions, working with healthcare data really with a bunch full of solutions, and it is there's he got a big catalog on challenges he faced in that time. But he provided for us the most important aspects that we took as takeaway here and want to share with you what he was facing in his time. And that was, I guess the first one was the missing data. Yeah, that if you really want to provide a useful output in the end to derive some impactful decision making, you must make sure that you have the right data for it, and it must be complete. Yeah, but at the same time, as data is missing, yeah, it sounds somehow how to call it, paradox. Yeah, to have missing data, but complex data in terms of not in the length of row, but maybe the length of columns. Yeah, there's so many attributes data have, and you must focus on the most impactful or the most sufficient attributes of data, which is really useful here. And yeah, in data science, maybe data scientists are sitting here in the webinar. They know how to. There are methods how to evaluate the importance of the data. There's, yeah, linking to feature engineering, yeah, or making some component analysis. Yeah, but we don't want to get too deep here. Yeah, and in the end, it's again the black box problem, because unclear decision-making process. When you derive decision from a result from a machine learning or AI application, and you're unsure about it, then you're also unsure about the process. after that. That
Exactly.
is so.
But and it results in long delays in decision taking, right? Because it's unclear. Things move a lot slower. Also, versus what we see in other industries, the healthcare / biotech industry, they can sometimes take their time to get moving. I guess for all the right reasons, but yeah, that makes it a challenge sometimes.
Mhm.
Right. So then, if we put all of these challenges together, I think you summarized it here on a page. I think those are the typical things we see coming back. Maybe I want to talk a little bit about how we at Dataminded, well, we don't claim to solve all these problems immediately, but how we tackle them at least, right? So how do we tackle those challenges? And I think for that, it's useful to look at the bigger picture first. I think if you want to be a high-performance data-centric organization, there's three things you need to do right. And it's the same in healthcare, it's the same in finance, it's the same in media industry. We see, and that's this picture here. Let me walk you through it. So on the top, you have your different domains. Every large organization has different domains. Like you can have the clinical domain, the finance domain, what have you, the research domain that wants to do a bunch of experiments, that wants to do something with data. In order for them to do something, they need to rely on a bunch of data products, what we call so data assets that you made available in a structured way, data products to build their insights. Whether it's BI or AI or exploratory analytics, you always need to have those data products available. That's one thing, very important. Those data products need to rely on some kind of standardized data platform. It's another. We're not going to talk too much about data platforms today, but what we've seen go wrong at companies is that every data product builds their own data platform. It becomes a very isolated thing. No, you want one platform where you can build reusable data products on top. So that's number two. And then finally, you need to have a good operating model where you align your organization, your people, your processes. I know it's boring, but I've seen so many use cases where the right platform was built, the right data products were built, but there were not good alignment on how you work together and who does what, and self-service capabilities, data governance, stuff like that. And then still it's not being used. So you really need to get the operating model in place. And in fact, you need to get those three things working well together, right? I'm going to quickly zoom into a few of those, but then Thomas, I'm going to give it back to you to talk
Mhm.
about a very specific use case in healthcare, right? Because this might be a bit abstract for people. Data products, what are they? Those are the things that you take from idea to all the way to production. You build them, you turn it into a product on which, like those BI, AI, or APIs or apps are built, right? You leverage tools and technologies basically to create value from data. It's a massive cliche, but that's basically what's going on in those data products. What's important for companies to know also in healthcare is that they embrace what I call data product thinking, where each data product is valuable, feedback-driven, reusable, addressable, secure, discoverable, understandable, natively accessible, interoperable, and truthful and trustworthy. I know it's a mouthful, but you need to put certain emphasis on quality in order to actually, if you just put some data on a cloud service somewhere, then you won't get far, especially not in healthcare, I've learned. So that's all about the data products, data product thinking. You also need an operating model on which you can work together, interface with business. You need to be very clear on roles and responsibilities to guide people. You need to build processes that are understood by the platform to accelerate those people. So what do I mean by that? Very often companies design like an operating model, let's say typical, how are we going to do a data governance track? And they define a whole bunch of rules and data access policies and stuff like that, but they do it in a vacuum. They do it in a way that is not connected to the actual infrastructure. And then whatever you decide in those committees and on slides is not what's happening in real life, right? So what we try to do is bring those three things, platform, which we didn't talk about too much, the operating model and the data products, we bring them together, right? And a nice example of that, where we're really proud of what we did, is we built a data product portal. It's open source. We'll post links to GitHub, and the data product portal aims to do exactly that. So the data product portal is a tool where you can list all the data sets you have, all the data products that you're building, and see how they're dependent on each other. Like in this case, it's an AI model for histology. It needs these three data sources and it produces an images set, something like that. Well, this is not a live demo, but you could see like who's the team working on it. Do I need to give access to somebody to work on this? Can I go like into my Databricks notebook to work on this, stuff like that? This is where, when we say your operating model needs to be tied to your platform and your data products, this is a tool that can help you do that, right? So if you want to know more about the data product portal, it's open source. We encourage everyone to check it out, play with it, and let us know what you think, right? It's a bit abstract, but let's turn this into a case study. Thomas, can you share a bit what we've done for a previous biotech client?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, as Chris always said, we are talking about data products. Yeah, and we have a client or had a client or still have from 2023 on which are facing the challenges to make their data transparency. Yeah, on going from decision making to taking action. Yeah, and so we have developed a framework for data platform to tackle these challenges and developed together with the client an architecture to enable data product teams to create value and improve based on feedback on that, and yeah, issuing together with the IT teams and data teams to ensuring scalability and maintainability of systems, yeah, and the data products itself, yeah, for a long-term side also, yeah, and in that time, we also delivered or developed a tool that is MVP focused on data sharing and storaging and enhancing or improving this decision making, yeah, for early issue identification, because it is saying again, it is sensitive, this industry, and we want to be noticed as soon as possible if there's any issue coming up. Yeah, and the sooner the better, the more flexible and agile we can react. And this platform provided this feature for the client. Yeah, and that is a big improvement for all stakeholder working on that from client side, and we are really happy about this great achievement, and also to take the solution in other industries, not only in healthcare but also in others. And yeah, that's basically it about it.
I think there I want to emphasize that now it is always easy to put it on a slide, like, hey, what do we do? But we went through the same hurdles as what we mentioned earlier around data access policy and compliance and GDPR and people not trusting machine learning and AI, right? So it's not that those challenges disappear, but I mean. It is possible to resolve them and to build towards something that is actually useful, right? So that's cool to see, to be able to work with innovators in the space, because as you said, Thomas, there's quite some skepticism also for cloud technologies. This was done fully in the cloud. This company embraced all the innovation that they could. Yeah, and it's nice to get the opportunity to work with them, right?
Yeah,
but so in summary, I think, Thomas, you put some codes before we go to a Q&A. So by the way, stay put for the Q&A, guys. We have some questions for you, and also curious what you think. But Thomas, your thoughts on the biotech industry?
Yeah. Just to leave some final words on our last 40 minutes. Okay, we started with biotech is a very sensitive industry, facing all the challenges and aspects. But we see big opportunities in that industry. We see big impact to humanity, yeah, and life itself. And that is what motivates ourselves at Dataminded day by day to keep on that. yeah, to take track on these solutions, to upskill also ourselves, to upskill our clients, yeah, and it's happy to have worked together with partners which are also innovative. Then it's also easier for us to implement new technologies. Yeah, with the same mindset, having both parties on the same level of mindset, it makes easier for everyone to achieve new spheres in that field. Yeah.
All right, cool. With that, we're going to switch back to Q&A. I'm going to share my screen again. Here we go. Yeah. So we're curious, the challenge Thomas listed. I think some of you already, at least one of you completed it. Like, are you experiencing the same challenges? And you get on your mobile or on your screen, you can put a slider from strongly disagree, like, no, I'm not facing that challenge, to strongly agree, like, yeah, I'm having the challenge all the time. And so for each of the challenges that Thomas mentioned, low use of cloud technologies, data access hurdles, regulatory compliance, integration issues, missing trust, the skill gap, handling of complex data, existing of silos data. Are you experiencing the same or not? I'll give you, I'm curious if there's the pattern is more, how do you say, more common, or is just us that sees this and we have a sampling bias or something like that, right? So we'll wait a bit until more people complete this. If you've lost your Menti, you can go to menti.com and the code is above, like 5858801, right? You can click there. Okay, there's some more answers coming in. Missing trust and data integration issues so far are winning.
It's a nice race. It's okay.
Indeed.
Strict regulatory compliance took over. Oh, yeah. It's a hottest horse right now.
Silo data. Some people also have silo data. I guess that's normal. This, by the way, I don't think it will ever go away. Silo data. I had a discussion earlier about there's actually the natural state of things where your data live in different operational systems, and only when you take them into an analytical space, then you unsilo them. But by default, they're siloed. And if you build 3 different data platforms, then they're still siloed, right? So that's a problem that keeps on coming back. What makes me happy is low use of cloud technologies is not seen as too much of a challenge. So that means that people are embracing cloud, which always makes me happy, because you're so much more productive in cloud than on premise, right? So
really a progress, yeah.
All right. That was useful. Do you see any other challenges that we missed in the healthcare/biotech industry? Data security compliance, AI explainability, I guess that's on the next line. I think the AI explainability falls a bit together with the distrust in AI and ML, right? It's a black box and nobody can explain it. So I'll wait a bit until somebody else can add their challenges if we miss some. Else we switch, we go to the Q&A.
Yeah, but talking about here data security is really important to mention also that, yeah, just imagine that the data is breachable, yeah, or attackable from the other side, from wherever. It's really a high risk, yeah, really a high risk, and you cannot
it's definitely true.
enough. Yeah.
I like this one as well, actually. The lack of sense of urgency in the larger ecosystem. I think the person, and correct me if I'm wrong, whoever wrote this, you can add a new comment, but I think there's no urgency, or not a lot of urgency in big parts of the biotech industry to actually innovate, because they're doing what they've been doing for decades, and why change? And it's a bit conservative by nature. I think difficulty when working with data across stakeholders. What would this person mean across business and technical stakeholders, like not speaking the same language, or? Data ownership is seen as a problem. Okay.
But thinking of data access also there in that direction. Yeah. Also connected to data ownership, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Let's move to the Q&A. All right. There's already some questions. I mean, people are running ahead of the slides, so it seems. How does Dataminded make a self-service platform easy for people who aren't very technical? Any examples? This is a very specific question, but a good one. Maybe let's start with why self-service. Like the picture I showed you earlier, like the different domains building their insights on top of data products. I really, really believe that the insight should be built as close to the domain as possible. So the people working in clinical trials should do their own analytics. The people in finance should build their own dashboards. The people in HR should process their own HR data, right? I really believe that to be the case. I don't believe in, at least for large organizations, I don't believe in doing data processing in a central data team. The central data team is there to enable you, not to build your use cases. And so then self-service becomes a must. And then specifically, self-service for people who are not very technical. I think as engineers, we always like to give them engineering tools. Like here is a Python environment, or here is a notebook, or here's worse, here's a Kubernetes cluster and a Linux terminal. That's not going to fly. I really believe in empowering them through things like dashboarding tools. Power BI is a great example, Tableau. And don't try to, over-engineer it. Let them experiment in those tools. Let them do their thing. And only when you see that the insights they built out of that they want to reuse somewhere else, then you can turn it into a reusable data product. But don't try to over-regulate that BI environment. Let them do as much as possible themselves. And don't be the police. Be like, I'm here to enable you. How can I help? Don't be like, oh, you cannot import this. You cannot join this data. You can no. Let them do their thing. Next question: what are the basics for building a data platform in biotech, especially to keep things clear and follow compliance? Well, maybe that will take us very far, but I think the basic building blocks that you need is the ones we explained, like the platform itself. The platform has a lot of components. It has compute, it has storage, it has data access, it has security management, identity management, maybe an ML repository, a streaming system, whatnot. Those are 10,000 different tools. I think one of the things I always tell our clients is don't build a bag of tools that you expose to end users because they won't understand it. Build some kind of interface on top of your platform that talks the language of your consumers, right? Make it as easy as possible for your consumers to use the platform, and don't let them learn on all the underlying technology because that's a thing that will never ever work. Maybe a second basic principle is that your platform should be integrated with whatever you're doing in governance. You cannot set your access rights and your data product ownership and all those things. You cannot define them in a governance tool without it translated back to a data platform, right? It has to be one thing. It has to be integrated with each other. And maybe thirdly, make sure that you measure adoption and feedback. I'll tell you a not so great story. A couple of years ago, we built a platform in telco. And we asked our primary users, like, would you recommend the platform we just built for you? And all of them said, no, we wouldn't. And that was a slap in the face. But it was also a wake-up moment. Like, okay, if you wouldn't recommend this platform to anybody else, then what's wrong with it? Like, engage with your users to understand, like, okay, it's like, don't go from it from an engineering point of view, like, how would it be great if we add this service or that service? No. Ask your users, are you happy with the platform? Does it give you a good developer experience? If not, how can we improve it? And engineers tend to like ignore that for a bit. Right? What is the hardest tech issue when building data products, and what's the hardest non-tech problem? Thomas, by the way, if you want to take some of those, go ahead, because I
Yeah,
quickly answered very
yeah,
impulsive.
it's all
Go
right.
for it.
You're a great storyteller, Chris.
Okay.
But facing this non-tech problem, it's always about it's communication aspects. Yeah, when you're
Yeah.
developing data products or also platforms, you're working together with different kind of stakeholders, and everyone has her or his own expectation, which you're really trying to meet. And as an engineer, we have to communicate it in a clear way what we are doing and what objective we want to achieve with that to deliver the bigger picture, yeah, and to aim for our goals. And that is maybe one of the hardest non-tech problem, because not everyone is capable of, and often projects failing because of that, not because of technologies, but non-technical problems.
Yeah, I think I had this discussion so many times. If there is one consensus in the industry, which is not obvious, it's that the hardest part about this whole data thing is not technology. It's always non-technical problems, like collaborating with people, politics, company politics, following processes that shouldn't be there, dogmas, people, not willing to change, stuff like that is a lot harder. Like, I don't know a single technical problem that we weren't able to solve or at least bypass. We always are able to tackle those, but the non-technical problems sometimes kill projects, right? And maybe to add to what you just said, Thomas, and maybe that is a tech issue. You mentioned capabilities of people. We see a lot of organizations that spend millions on data. They also spend a lot of money on consultants, and we love it. Thank you. But they don't spend a lot of money on educating their own team. And we always emphasize, like, your own team needs to have the skills to do this. Basic skills, Python, Spark, Linux, cloud, all those things. And by the way, for those who don't know, we have a Dataminded Academy. We have a whole bunch of courses where we actually educate the team of the client. I think it's as important as hiring consultants to accelerate you. It's what is your plan for the long run? You're going to depend on consultants forever, or you're going to build an internal team that can build use cases themselves? And usually the answer is the second, but yeah, for some reason, spending 100K on consultants is fine. Spending 10K on training is difficult. I find that weird, but I've seen it a lot. What are your key learnings on operating model? Any tips on how to get started to make sure data products are actually used? Maybe what I said earlier, make sure your operating model, whatever you design, like how you work together with business, you serve the business needs, you really understand what the business wants in the first place. If you don't know what the business wants, then don't even build a platform. Don't do anything. Like, step one, make sure that the business, you know what the business wants, and then be flexible in your operating model. We had a data leadership roundtable, and I won't mention the name, but there was a data leader responsible for data governance in his organization. And he was very open to the rest of the group. He said, we failed rolling out data governance 3 times. Once because we listened too much to consultants, twice because we just bought a very expensive tool and we thought the tool would solve all problems, and the third time is because we didn't try to get business buy-in. And now I'm on journey number 5, and I try to do it right this time. Getting your operating model right is not something that works from the first time. You need to do some iterations, and you need to be humbled enough to realize that you failed. Product usage, like data product usage, eat our own dog food. I mean, we're the data department. We should build data analytics on how often our data products are being used. We often don't do it, but we should. We are sometimes the most difficult student in the class when it comes to data analytics. Use data analytics on your own things. Really, I cannot I cannot promote that enough.
Chris, your video is frozen. Turning on and off your video will help. Yeah,
becoming very dark. Anyway, we're near the end anyway.
Thank you, Ali.
Yeah. With Gen AI, any specific learnings on data products which are new versus exploratory analytics and classic AI? Generative AI makes AI and coding very available. Maybe one where we work with the data science team of a big Belgian company, and now they're getting like this influx of LLM and Gen AI use cases. And the data science team literally told us, like, that's engineering. There's no data science in this. So maybe we need to staff more engineers on this and less data scientists, because it's really just calling an API. And whether you look at it positively or negatively, like if you're a data scientist and you enjoy training models and getting accuracy up and stuff, then that's bad news for you. But if you're just here to like get value from data and get it as quickly as possible, it's good news. I heard a story of a company, and they needed to inspect their equipment. I can't be more specific, but on one hand, they trained a very expensive vision model to rate the quality of their equipment and the state of their equipment, and on the other hand, they just send the image to ChatGPT. And neither solution was perfect, but ChatGPT model was like a lot more accurate than whatever they trained, tailor-made for their specific machine and their specific thing. And so the learning there is things like generative AI makes initial discovery and trial and error a lot easier. It won't solve all your needs, and you still need a human in the loop because it can hallucinate and blah blah blah. But it should accelerate innovation a lot, right? And don't be afraid to use it and embrace it with everything you have. Thomas, I don't know if you have anything to add to the Gen AI thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking of using Gen AI maybe in coding in terms of data products. There might be a point for a team for developing new prototypes, maybe new feature what they never have done before. Yeah, because also data engineers or software engineers cannot know everything. Yeah, also their knowledge is limited. But maybe it can give you speed up in developing new prototypes and or developing new MVPs and finding out if it works or not. Yeah.
Yeah,
it can be helpful in that way. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we're close at the end of the. And by the way, it turned dark here. Apparently, I don't know if my video is still frozen, but my image is scrubbed.
No, it's good. Now it's good.
It's good again. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Anyway, want to wrap up with an announcement. So we are organizing a next meetup a couple of weeks from now in Düsseldorf on the 27th. Thomas, can you tell me a bit more? What are we going to do in Düsseldorf?
Yeah, and this meetup in exactly 2 weeks from today in Düsseldorf, we're talking about data product thinking, what might be done in advance to implement data products in an organization, some kind around that. We are very flexible discussing the topic in a networking session, but we have 2 amazing speakers, one from Carolina from BASF and Mirella from AstraZeneca, the one coming from Berlin, the other coming from Hamburg, from the north and from the east to the very far west. So it looks like the whole Germany is coming together on this evening. I'm really looking forward, and everyone here feel invited to join us. It will be an amazing evening. I'm really looking forward to it.
Indeed. And Düsseldorf is not that far. Actually, I travel from Leuven. I'm closer to Düsseldorf than you, Thomas. So if someone wants to join me from Leuven, then there's still some seats free in the car. Right.
I will take a train for 2 days, maybe a night train. Let's see. Okay.
All right, with that, let's wrap up because we're also out of time. Thanks everyone for participating. Don't hesitate to reach out. We'll send some follow-up emails with the slides and the video and stuff. Thomas, thank you very much for sharing your learnings here. Looking forward to the next meetup.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Great. Bye-bye.